Hi, Filmatics. Welcome back to part two. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Melissa Flores. She's a writer, producer, and consultant, and she did the Power Rangers and also her movie, the Saban Power Ranger movies, and now she has her own company. Let me see if I get this right. Capacha Pucho? I'm probably trained that.
Chapa Productions, but you're so close.
Chapa Productions, which I learned in part one. You got to listen to part one. Means like a karate chop, right?
Yes. Yes. Because I came from action with Power Rangers, and I still do a lot of action, so it made sense.
Yeah. So Melissa, you were working for Saban, right?
Yes.
And then they were sold to Hasbro, right?
Right.
And then they kind of dissolved your position, sort of. So
Yeah, so they bought E1, which is an entertainment company, I'm sure we all know. And with E1 being an entertainment company, it kind of dissolved the need for another entertainment division, I guess. I don't know the particulars. I just know that my job wasn't needed anymore, which again it happens, especially now. With the companies, everybody is either merging or shifting, or all these partners are coming in, and so I'm sure a lot of us have been laid off at one point or another. It's one of those things that happens in this industry, and thankfully for me, it was at the right time. I was ready to move on, and I finally was ready to actually try and be a writer and a producer on my own, with something that was without a big IP behind me like Power Rangers. And it's been a journey the last 2 years, because literally 2 weeks after that happened, COVID all hit and all the lockdowns happened, and so it was interesting reality trying to start a career in a completely different field of what you're used to. I'm used to giving the notes and producing these things and being the person telling the people what to do and hiring writers, instead of trying to be the writer and trying to get hired. Um, but it's one of those things where you work with what you have, and thankfully I had a lot of connections through my Power Rangers days, and I made a good enough reputation for myself that people wanted to work with me and give me a chance, and was very lucky enough to get some really amazing projects off the ground, and still some more coming. So I feel like this year is going to be the year for me that really uh, a lot of my projects are in the works, and I can't announce them all yet, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see where this year goes. But it took 2 years, and it was a lot of work, a lot of writing, a lot of networking. But it's a grind, just like everybody else. It's a job, and I'm excited to get here. I'm excited to try something else.
yeah, so you start your company. Can you say the name of it? Because I just I
Yes.
don't.
Kachapa Productions.
Kachapa Productions, and I like that. I really like that. Kapow, or probably said or karate. Hiya.
So yeah, it was Kachapa Productions, and then also Amalgam Tales, which is another production company that I actually run with my friend Ayani Saima, which is a production company itself that focuses on diverse voices and creating content for featuring heroes that aren't necessarily normally seen.
Oh, and that's
But
so
so I
beautiful.
started those two. Yeah, we started those two, and through that we have been developing content for all sorts of media. One of the big things I learned with production with Power Rangers, my 10 years there, was that the power of the story and the power of synergy, especially right now, is more important than ever before. With Power Rangers, one of the things we were really able to do successfully is not just look at the television show and the feature film and the comic books as their own entities, but actually really make sure that they all kind of worked together to create one whole story and one whole universe. And there's a lot of power in being able to reach somebody via a narrative podcast or a YouTube channel or a comic book or a prose book or a web series, anything else, because we're just so consumed by content every day in our life. And there's so many streaming services now, and there's so many movies. Not all of them are great, you know. It's really hard to get anybody's attention these days, and so being able to find new avenues to tell stories and connect them to different avenues, I think, is the real key to success in our new world, especially right now with COVID, with so many people were just staying home, and there's no movie theater to go to, there's no bars. You connect with them where people go, and that was on the internet.
Yeah, and so it's COVID, and you started your company. Was there a passion project, the first one that you started? Was there like your baby, like this is my baby, I'm gonna work on this one?
Yeah, actually, I started working on The Unleashed, which is a Twitch series, and it was originally brought to me. I had worked with an influencer named Megan Camarena, and she and I had met on a show called Power Rangers Hyperforce, which was essentially a Twitch digital series that we had worked on together. I had cast her as the Pink Power Ranger in that series, and through that we became friends. And she called me and said, "Hey, Twitch wants me to do a show. Would you be willing to help me create it?" And so I was like, "Absolutely, I'd love to." And so we created her and myself, and then three other influencers, Mika Greer, Shelby Grace, and Abria Yengar, worked together to create a series called The Unleashed. And it was essentially, it's not a TV series and it's not an RPG series. It's a mixture of both. So what it was a live show. We went on for 8 episodes, and we scripted the show. So it was scripted, and we actually had filmed segments that would air, but the majority of the show was run like a Dungeons and Dragons game.
Wow,
So
cool.
you had a game master sit at the table. Our cast members, because it was, in the middle of lockdown, so they were all at home. We're sitting at their table with webcams, just like we're doing. And we played music, we ran skits, and essentially it was a show, a radio play told live. And it was fascinated. We had done it to an extent with Hyper RPG, with Hyperforce, but to do it ourselves and to do a show that was live, that featured a live audience with a live chat reacting to everything you were doing. Uh, it was so interesting and so validating because this was a different kind of story than I had ever told. Because the story changed every week. We had a story that we wanted to tell. We had, these superhero kids that were living at the superhero school and all the things that they go through living at this school. But based on how the actors felt that day, based on how the DM felt that day, it would change from week to week. So it wasn't like I could just show up with 8 scripts and just hand it to them and be like, "Here you go." Like, they each one of them owned their characters, and so we had to constantly be sure that everybody was comfortable with where their character was going. Sometimes in the middle of the show, they were like, "Nope, I'm going to do it this way," and we just had to adjust. And sometimes the audience would react to something that we didn't expect them to, and so in order to really play to that audience, we were able to adjust the next show and rewrite the show a little bit so that they could see, oh, well, this character is really popping for them. Let's like elevate this character. Oh, this romantic pairing that we didn't see coming, people are really into. Let's play with that. It was really fascinating. That's actually a really big hit for Twitch, which was fantastic. And we even got to do a comic book from it as well. And we sold some merch, and it was just a great little series that aired on Twitch, and you can still find it on YouTube, that allowed me to be creative on my own for the first time and work with some really amazing people. And it's still so much fun. I'm so excited to be able to, we own that IP, so we're going to be able to go back to it and keep playing with it and keep bringing it back. But during COVID, that was kind of one of the only shows you could do, and being able to do that from everybody's home. We shot the scenes during COVID, so we had to make sure everybody was tested, everybody was clean, everybody wore masks, but we were still able to do it. And that was just so validating for me because
That
it was the
oh my
first thing I
gosh.
had done, after Power Rangers that was truly mine. And just to see somebody film the words that I wrote, like that first day, I was just like, oh my God, I didn't think it'd feel like this. And that was just, it was amazing. And I will love that show to death forever because of it. And thankfully, um, the fans really loved it too, which is really great. Yeah, I would still have loved it if everybody hated it, but thankfully people liked it.
Oh my
So,
gosh, that you're working with a pink Power Ranger. I mean, you're gonna laugh. I just made a Twitch account, but I haven't gone on there yet. So, but I just started learning like about Twitch. Yeah, I'm like, I'm older. I don't know because but I
Oh,
saw
you
like,
can be any age and be on Twitch.
oh
Yeah.
really? And then I saw like Armand Gold. He's now on like YouTube and he's got like 1,600,000 followers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you get those numbers? But people work really hard on that, to get those numbers.
Yeah. No, Twitch is incredible. And I think it's one of those things where we're talking about where don't sleep on other media that's not television or movies. Because Twitch, the amount of numbers that they get is incredible. And the amount of people that are passionate about Twitch influencers is incredible because it is a different kind of interactive media. It is not like television or movies where it's more or less a passive media, right? You're just watching things happen. You don't really have control to an extent if you're on Twitter and you're angry enough, but you don't really have a lot of control over what happens, right? It's done before you even see it. Twitch, everything happens live. And it's not just the perk, it's the expectation that as an audience member, you are able to change the narrative. You are able to change things if you want to bad enough by donating money or by one of the things that we did for Power Rangers Hyperforce, because it was a Twitch show as well, is fans could create a mini game. They could play a mini game where they became their own ranger and they could through playing those mini games, they could build enough energy and donate that energy to their favorite player on screen. And then that player, that basically amounted to extra dice rolls for the player. So anytime they had to do something that required, a roll for like D&D, for example, like I want to cross the street. Okay, roll for success. And if they're successful, they're not going to get hit by a train. And if they're not successful, they will get hit by the train. Allowing them to have that extra power meant that they were a part of the story, right? And they worked really hard for that. And that's one of those things that's really interesting about Twitch because people will pay money to their favorite influencer to be subscribed to them every month. And it is a different kind of passion that a lot of people are noticing and tapping into now. That's also why YouTube works and why Twitter works and why Instagram works, right? This the power of the influencer. If you can marry that with narrative story, there's something really fun in that, and there's a lot of opportunity in it.
Oh, that's amazing. And so after you did that, are you allowed to talk about anything else that you're working on or that you worked on?
I can talk. I could talk about the Dead Lucky.
Okay.
It's one of those things I want to so bad because there's just some really cool things. I can talk in broad terms. I
Sure.
have I've gotten to work in the podcast narrative space quite a bit, which is amazing. That's been really fun for me. I've also gotten to work in the TV space a little bit, and I have a TV series that not a TV series. I can't. That's too much. It's saying too much. I have a series that I'm really excited about. That's going to be that I'm going to work on as well. I don't know what's going on with my pen. Sorry.
Yeah.
And also a lot of space in the comic books. I'm really excited as well. Just being able to tell the stories in the comic books, especially for Image. I'm so excited to have an Image book. It is the third biggest comic book distributor after Marvel and DC. So be able to have a book with them is truly an honor, and I'm really excited to do that as well. But I'm at that weird motion where I have things that are being developed and contracts that are being written, and I just can't talk about them. But I am excited about the Dead Lucky, and I'm super excited. We're going to start promoting it. It's going to come out in August, and work about. And for Amalgam Tales, we have a couple. We have a series called Come Again that is starting to go around, and it's gonna. I'm really excited about that one. So hopefully, we'll find a home for that one soon.
Oh, great. And like the Dead Lucky, can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, is it like a superhero or what kind of?
Yeah. So the Dead Lucky. So it's based in the Image's superhero universe, which is called the Massive Verse, and it is a tie-in to an original series by Kyle Higgins, who was a writer that I worked with on Power Rangers. He wrote the Boom Comics Power Rangers stories, and he also helped write the story mode for Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. And so we got very close during that time. And he created a book for Image called Radiant Black, which is a superhero series. And it did very well. It just got nominated for an Eisner. Congratulations to him.
Wow.
And through that, he basically reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to pitch me a superhero idea? And I was like, absolutely. And so I created the Dead Lucky, which is a superhero that comes out of San Francisco. It is a war veteran with a lot of PTSD who has lost most of her squad in a accident in Afghanistan, has come back with electrical powers, the ability to control and manage electrical currents. And she comes back to San Francisco and discovers that it has been privatized, and that this company Morrow is basically taking over the city, promising to make it the city of tomorrow, and is really just essentially driving everybody out that it doesn't like, with these big robots. And BB decides she can't just let that happen, and so she uses her power of electricity to take control of a mech, and her and this mech take on Morrow and try to drive them out of San Francisco. But the themes about it are really heavily inspired by many of the veterans that I know, including my own girlfriend, who is a war veteran, and how they deal with the world and how they see it differently than we do. So it's actually really close to my heart. It's really a love letter to every friend that I've lost to suicide, every friend that I've lost to their own demons that plague them, and to PTSD, and how we connect as people, especially right now with everything changing all around us every single day. Um, it's been a lot of fun for me to explore that in comic book form. On surface, it's a superhero IP. It's a story about a girl and her robot, but but much deeper and much more complex. It's studying how we connect to people and how we move beyond our grief when it completely surrounds us. And
This
really excited about that.
this one sounds amazing. Like I'm already at the edge of my seat going, wow, I just love that so much. And thank you for the service because my dad was in the military too. But someone just sent me something too about a war veteran. If he doesn't get a deal, I'm gonna send it to you because you're gonna be like, love it. But like this one, you wrote it, and it's like I can tell it's from your heart, and it just sounds amazing. And can you repeat it again? Because I want everyone to go watch this. I want everyone to go watch it. You're gonna have to come back and let us know where it's gonna be streaming, or I can update the podcast so they
Oh,
can go see.
it's a comic book series, so you can read it,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's on. You can get it at any local comic book store, or even online, like Comixology or Amazon comic books or Kindle. It's called The Dead Lucky, and the first issue will be out August 3rd.
Oh my gosh, the unlucky,
Yeah,
yeah, oh my
The
god,
Dead
that's
Lucky.
amazing.
Yeah,
The dead lucky. So that's a cool name too. Like, see, I'm
yeah.
dyslexic, yeah, ADHD, all that. ADHD, dyslexia, anxiety, creative, the creative
I mean,
types.
we all like that a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it sounds so amazing. I can already see it as a TV show, a TV series. Like, I already see it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing,
Yeah,
amazing.
we're excited. It's a great IP, I think, and I just love the story. I want it so badly to be successful, and I hope it will. But it's a part of a wider universe called the Massive Verse, and it's a bunch of really amazing, cool superheroes that Image is promoting and curating. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Are
Hopefully, we'll see it beyond just comic books. Yeah.
Are you gonna do a podcast version, like an audio, like a series on podcast? Are you doing some
You know,
podcasts?
I mean, that's a dream. I'd love to. Right now, I'm just focusing on the book and taking it one step at a time. But definitely, I have many plans for this IP, and I really want it to go much bigger. As much as I love the comic book space, like I love this character so much in this world that she lives in. So I'd love to see it in other avenues if I could. Absolutely.
Y- Yeah, and then what's the other one that you're allowed to talk about? Like, you want to talk a little bit more about the other one that you can talk about?
um, so it's not quite out yet, but there is a series that I'm pitching now called Come Again, and that one's really fun for me. It is a story about a woman who has everything and loses it during the pandemic and is forced to reunite with her best friend in high school and her boyfriend from high school who she's lost touch with. And basically they've lost everything too, and now everybody has to move on together. It's a lot of fun, and that's going to be going out to producers and agents and all that fun stuff very soon. Um, But the other stuff, unfortunately, I'm all under NDA. But it'll be out soon. It's one of those things where in a couple months I can probably talk about it, but right now I can't.
Okay, yeah, and did we talked a little bit about Radiant Black, right?
Right. So Radiant Black is my friend's comic book, Kyle Higgins. It is an Eisner nominated comic book series for Image, and it is amazing. It is about a struggling writer who comes home to his family in Chicago and discovers a miniature black hole that turns him into a superhero, and how that affects him and his friends, and this incredible new responsibility that forces him to uh, really take a hard look at himself and what that means to be a superhero. It's fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. It is the Dead Lucky is part of that superhero universe. So while Radiant Black exists in Chicago, Dead Lucky exists in San Francisco. So we're building, much like Marvel has their universe, we're building our own for Image. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, how fun. And then also, can you share like the voiceovers that you do? You also do voiceover work, right?
Yes, yes. So a lot of what I did came out through Power Rangers. It was one of those things where, necessity is the mother of invention, obviously. And because I used to act a long, long time ago, I can do voiceover when I have to, and it's been a lot of fun. And that's why you see the fancy microphone right here.
Yeah, I love it.
but so we were producing a story mode for a video game called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and that is a cross-platform video game that featured a story mode. And we needed voice actors, and unfortunately, there was only so much money in the budget, and we still had two Rangers that needed voices, and so. I was able to pop into the booth and just basically, thankfully, I had enough talent to be able to produce two different voices, and through that I kind of fell in love with the voice acting part of the business. So it's been a lot of fun, just doing little bits here and there. But yeah, now I can actually say that I was a Power Ranger in a video game, which is a lot of fun.
That is so cool. Do we know what color you were? Were you pink
Yes,
or
I was the Cat Ranger, who was orange, and the yellow Super Mega Force Ranger. So there's a lot of Rangers. There's about 130 Rangers,
oh
and they
my
keep getting, there's more every year. So
oh my gosh, like every color under the rainbow, right?
yeah, so we have every color, or no, we had, because I'm not with them anymore. But there's a lot of colors. Rangers are fun. I mean, that's what I loved about Rangers was um, that there was so many. It wasn't like you're a Superman or a Batman where you had just one guy. With a Power Ranger, it's just so much more. Anybody can be a Power Ranger, right? You can be, all a Power Ranger required was the ability to be a good person and the ability to morph. And if you have the power to morph, you can be a Power Ranger. And that's what I really loved about it. I think that's what a lot of people really love about Rangers. There's one Ranger that will connect to anybody, and one color that connects to everybody. And they're never alone. They're a team. And that's, I think, even as a writer now, I don't work by myself. I mean, a lot of people think that writers are just working on their own, and that's not true. If you're really trying to work, you're working with a producer, you're working with an editor, you're working with a director, you're working with a bunch of different people with the talent, like all these different people who have ideas on how to craft a story and how to make it better. And you need to learn very quickly how this may be your story, but it's not just your story. It's, the best story takes everybody's feedback into account and creates the best narrative for everybody. And that's been a lot of fun for me too, because I really was afraid of it being a very isolating experience, becoming a writer producer for myself instead of just one for a brand. And that has not been the case at all. I've been able to work with some amazing people, and really, when I don't have a writer's room to work with, I create my own through the people that I work with. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's amazing. What a beautiful journey from, USC to Power Rangers to your own company, 2 companies, 2
Yeah,
companies. Yeah, and, just so incredible. So, we're so excited that you have come on our show today, and we're just so happy, and just congratulations for all your hard work paying off, just, like, taking that leap of faith, making your company, and you're doing it, and quite successfully, and so excited to
thank
see all
you.
your stuff coming out, and we're gonna have to invite you back so that you can Melissa's back and she can finally tell us the name of the shows.
I will keep you posted. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, thank you so much for being on the show today. And do you are you on social media? Can they
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Misty_Flores.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's like I love the name. And so I just wanted to thank all of our listeners for listening to Melissa today. And, tell your friends about it. Listen to part 1 and part 2. And thank you so much for coming on the show today, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was so great to meet you and to be on this series. Thank you so much.
And thanks to all our beautiful listeners on Filmatics here. Just thanks so much. Everyone have a beautiful week. And if you want to take a second to subscribe, download the podcast, and appreciate it so much. Bye, everyone.